The content you're about to hear is a part of a paid programming segment. The views, opinions, and statements expressed belong solely to the sponsor and do not reflect those of Podcastic or its host. This segment is for informational and promotional purposes only and should not be considered as advice or endorsement. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome to Creative Emotions. I'm your host, Leon Johnson, aka Lee Polo. And to my left-hand side, I want to introduce my main man.
You already know who it is. Your boy B Todd in the building, man. Welcome back.
That's what's up. Thank you, Q. Chef, shout out to Randy.
Yes.
Go ahead and take this over right here today.
Shout out
Take
to
over.
you. Definitely.
So today, we got a hell of a topic. So the topic is real simple. Something that's near and dear to my heart. And I know my buddy Ty gonna really understand it. So the topic is, when is it the right time to move in together? That's deep.
Yeah.
And first, soon as I said the topic to somebody else, they just was like, oh yeah, now she wanna ask. No, we're talking about from a man's point of view.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I think the best time to move in with a woman is when y'all both know that it's right. Like, it can't just be on you, it can't just be on her. And on top of that, when y'all do decide y'all gonna move in together, find a new place together.
Right.
Okay, because you don't want remnants of an old spot. You don't want nobody moving in with you, or you don't want to move in for the fellas. I'm sticking with the fellas.
Okay.
You don't want to move in with a woman and it's all a bunch of old baggage in that place, apartment, house, whatever. You know what I'm saying? You want to move into something fresh, something new, something that you could say that is both of you guys. Because, again, I've made a lot of mistakes in the past, and moving in with a woman was one of them.
Okay.
I would never, if I got put in a position to do it again, I would never do it again. Okay? Because what happened was, there was a lack of respect because I moved in with her versus it being the other way around.
Right, I got you.
You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So it's always best to go ahead and find a place together versus you moving into her spot. And I didn't know no better. I was young, I was dumb, and I was out here fooling. So I think it's best for the young, especially for the younger guys. If you about to move out and do your own thing, cool, go ahead and do your own thing, but don't just move in with no woman. I don't care if she hands you the key. Right. Like in the situation that I was in, I was handed the key. I didn't ask to do nothing. You know what I'm saying? So make sure that y'all know where y'all at in life with each other, and make sure y'all know, okay, we want to move forward, but let's take the necessary steps to move forward and get a place of our own.
Okay, so that makes sense.
Yeah.
But here are the things, Ty, I'm gonna ask you like this: is it a financial readiness when you're trying to move in? Because from my point of view, I hear it always being about financial readiness.
So yeah, I mean, it does have to be. Well, no, it ain't even just about financial readiness. Okay. It's more about financial maturity. More so than readiness.
Yeah, okay.
You could make anywhere from $16 an hour to $35 to $40 an hour. If you don't know how to manage your money, you don't know how to manage your money.
Okay.
So it's about your maturity when it comes down to finances.
Right.
Do you know how to put stuff that is priority first? Instead of getting what don't matter last. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's all about how you move, how you maneuver with that type of situation. Now, if you know that y'all behind on a payment or something,
okay,
your next move shouldn't be to go buy a new chain or new necklace or no new shoes, nothing. Put that money towards that bill that y'all behind on.
So we're gonna figure this out.
Exactly. Right. That's how it should be. So it's about financial, maturity than it is about financial just security in general. Anybody can have money. Everybody don't know how to utilize it.
See, and I get what you're saying, Todd, and it make a lot of sense. But I look at it like, okay, when I say financial readiness is that, okay, I'm in a position where I can afford to do these things in life.
Okay.
And the woman's at a position where she's ready to do these things in life. But if I'm searching for another goal at the same time, and I'm telling you my goal, do that make it worse or better when we're trying to move forward? Because I'm saying, hey, if you can hold down what you got, and I can put this together over here, we can have something that's going to be major. Major.
That can work, but y'all both got to be on the same page. If y'all not both on the same page, it's not gonna work because somebody gonna have something in their mind that they think is how it's supposed to go the way it's supposed to go, and you gonna have in your mind the way you think things supposed to go.
Right.
So if y'all not having those conversations to make sure y'all on the same page so y'all can move forward and make that thing work,
Right.
it's a wrap.
Okay, I go with that. I definitely can see that.
Yeah.
I definitely can see that.
Yeah, y'all gotta have those conversations and not just have the conversations. Have those conversations that have comprehension behind them. Like, try not to forget or follow what the person is saying. Like, hey, this is the goal. Are you with me? And make sure you keep that in your mind that that's what's going on, because it's easy to wake up one day, be on the go, and just forget about what the plan is. But just remember in the back of your mind, oh, yo, this the goal. I forgot that he said this or she said that. Let's stick to this, and I'm going to stick with this and keep it moving. Set some little reminders for yourself. Put them in your phone, make notes, whatever you need to do to make sure you stay on top of whatever the goal is financially, and you'll be straight.
I'll take that. That sounds like some good advice, but I guess for the audience, we're going to go a little deeper, Todd.
Okay.
So the deeper in this is this, okay? We move in together. Oh, I'm sorry. We're talking about moving in together. We're ready to move in. And we come to the point where we realize, do we get joint bank accounts? Do we get joint credit cards? Do we get the things that you know? I'm not saying not to have your own.
Right.
So we saying you got this already.
Right.
But now when do we start saying, okay, because we moving in together.
Yeah.
We trying to move in, we're being financially mature, like you said. And then I'm ready to be on the same level.
Yeah.
So the credit card game gotta come in. You know, the credit, the savings, it gotta come in.
Well, first of all, if you are if you having those conversations with your lady about moving in, that means it's serious on both ends.
Right.
So what should follow is, hey, we need a joint bank account for this and that. You know what I'm saying? For these particular bills, instead of just separating everything.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We should keep a joint bank account for this type of stuff right here. We about to put both our names on this apartment, this house, whatever. It need to come out of this account. Okay, we make sure we contribute this so much to the account. So yeah, those things should come into play. I agree. I think those should. As long as you ain't got nobody trying to, somebody from your past trying to dig in your pockets, which means a baby daddy or a baby mama, you good to go. You should be straight, and you should be able to move forward without that type of hassle.
Okay, but then I guess we'll go to the next thing. Will be when I'm moving and we setting these things up. Now, do I need to do a background check on you because I need to know where you're financially ready for this?
Yes.
Because a lot of people ain't.
Yes, I do think background checks are very necessary for both parties, because you need, and even if you're not going to do a background check, be honest about what's going on with your credit score and why it's so low.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
If it's high, it don't matter.
Yeah, exactly. So be honest about what's going on with your credit score and be like, hey, listen, I had this happen when I was in school.
Right.
I didn't finish, whatever the case may be. Hey, look, I'm trying to work to get it back up.
Right.
Do not try to go and look for a place together without that credit getting back up on one person's end. If y'all credit both tight, y'all can both get something better than what y'all about to settle for anyway. So that's how I would handle it.
And that's a good way to look at it. I mean,
Yeah.
That's to me one of the reasons why we got this topic, because I see a lot of people, they move in and be based on like, oh, we having a kid together, or we've been around each other so long.
Yeah.
And when you become mature about the thing, and I hate the other part about moving in together when a woman has trauma.
Yeah.
She
Oh
has
my God.
tragedy and trauma in her life. So now you ready to move in, and you're like, okay, and she like, well, you ain't at my level. What level is supposed to be? Because traditionally, a man will move a woman in and she can have less.
Exactly.
She can have less, and we'll be like, oh, come on, live with me. But here go a man saying, okay, I'm ready to move in and do the manly things. You know, take out the trash, fix stuff around the house, or make, whatever that you need to do to make that work. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, with that being the case, I want to be able to say, okay, now that we moving into this mature level,
Mm-hmm.
how do we break down the science behind it? Because the science is that I'm ready to move in, I'm ready to be with you, but you telling me I ain't at that, I haven't met that level of approval yet.
So with a situation like that, I would honestly, that's a situation where you have to walk away.
Ooh.
Unfortunately, it's hard, and I know it's easier said than done, but if you know that you're trying to get to another level,
right,
and the person that you love is still not nowhere near where you at. You know what I'm saying? Y'all not even close. You need to move on and possibly wait for that person. You know, if you in a waiting mood, if you got the patience, cool, go ahead and wait. You know what I'm saying? But if not, you gonna have to move forward. Otherwise, unfortunately, that person may drag you down with them, and then y'all both gonna be in a bold predicament versus just you being in a bold predicament by yourself.
Okay, well let's shoot some stars. I'm gonna use some stars. I did a little research on this.
Okay.
So when you look at somebody like Michelle Obama and Obama, she was in a position to definitely take off for the family and be super sweet.
Yeah.
And if you ever read their book or any excerpts of their book, you will see what he was like. The first Democratic convention, he was broke.
Yeah.
He didn't have no money to go to the convention.
Yeah.
So what if Michelle would have been like, I see your potential, but
I can't do that. Yeah, see,
right.
And so that's where it's like, that's where it's a tricky spot when it comes down to the person that you with. You can't just love and like who you with. You gotta respect them and you gotta understand them. If you understand them and you know who they are as a person, then you know whatever you pour into them is gonna come out tenfold. So you can't just do this with no regular degular.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You just can't have great sex with somebody and be like, oh, you know what? Let's just move in together. No, other stuff got to cover the base. Sex, good sex ain't good enough. It's just good sex. What about everything else that matters? What about if somebody fall behind? Who can you lean on? You know what I'm saying? And that's if you have to lean on somebody. Do you have a hustle, a side hustle you can assist, or you can get your person to assist with to build that money up with that? If something happened to them, these are things that's gonna matter. So it's really all about not necessarily being with finding your person. It's about knowing they hustle. Do they got ambition? Are they self-motivated? These are the things that's gonna help when y'all decide to make those big moves together. Cause I'm telling you right now, ain't no woman that could, if let's just say women had the foresight to see what was gonna happen with the next dude that they was with.
Okay.
And they like, okay, we're gonna have fun, we're gonna do this, but eventually we're gonna end up broke. Okay, no, I can't do this with him. Let me guide him in the right direction because I see he's gonna be the weakling when it comes down to the financial situation. All right, bet. Let me guide him and show him how things supposed to get done. And if he follows that pattern, we're gonna be straight. And I'm pretty sure what exactly Michelle ended up doing with Barack, because he was broke for a minute. So I'm pretty sure that's pretty much what happened. So with that happening, you just got to trust in your person. But in order to trust them, you got to know them.
But that's the key. To me, that's the key right there.
Yeah.
That's the key to our conversation. One of the keys, rather, is that you said financial maturity. We're going to remember that for later on for the recap.
Yep.
You also said the same thing right now, knowing your person.
Yeah.
Because character plays a role that finances can't make up for.
Yes.
Character is something, like I told somebody, I said, would you rather have a person that give you his last or a person that gave you something? Now, that something may be large.
Yeah.
Because the something most times, and I was guilty of this for a long time in my life. I only gave, even when I paid bills and I lived with somebody, I only paid the bills that was necessary for us to be in that house. I didn't pay the bills to the point where, okay, you can have a free month and I got a free month.
Right.
I paid the majority of the bills, so it was all on me, basically, to the point where this person only had to do a little bit.
Right.
But that little bit, we never capitalized on the big, so I never gave my last.
Exactly.
My last was always for me to go, since I worked hard, I played hard.
Yeah.
We make up excuses. And then for recently, when I started to give my last, that's when I realized, whoa, it's a different mentality when you come in the house and you say, hey, this is all I got.
Right.
And we're not talking about poor last. Poor last is different last.
Yeah.
We're talking about I'm running the business and I got to decide whether I'm going to go get a tire fix or give you something. Because you already got the light bill. We ain't worried about the light bill.
Right.
But I got to give you something on something versus go get this tire fix that's going to make us more money.
Yeah.
This can make us more money. But you ain't worried about it.
Yeah.
So that's why I say there's so many ways to look at this whole dynamics, because it's like, okay, and when you're ready to move in, do we go down the checklist of things to say, hey, I need to check X, Y, Z, then ABC.
Yeah, because it's like, let's be honest. whoever you end up with is not gonna check all of your boxes. They're not gonna check all the boxes you probably want, but they might check the boxes you need. Make sure that they check the boxes that you need.
That was cold.
Yeah.
You lean back.
Yeah.
Had to rock back on that.
Yeah. They might not check all the ones that you want, but that's fine. You know what I'm saying? That could be worked on. But the need, it's a need. That's a now.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you're gonna have to have that in your life and make sure that things get taken care of, because I'm telling you don't want to be in a bold predicament where it's like, damn, baby, I'm broke. Oh, baby, I'm broke too. That's not gonna be a good look. Somebody got to be able to pick up the pieces when somebody broke. You know what I'm saying? Y'all both can't be falling like that together. That's not cool, and that defeats the purpose of y'all being together anyway. Y'all gotta be each other's rock.
But see, so here go the thing, Top. So traditionally, when we talk about gender roles now,
Yeah.
because the man has always provided in the household.
Yeah.
The first thing that your male, whoever, or your homeboy say, man, you took care of that, you take care of your household. And then when he don't, like, oh, you're a deadbeat because you don't take care of your household.
Yeah.
But that's all about the financial. But the gender roles have started to change now. So now that a lot of women are making more money than men, I'm not gonna say should we not worry about that, or should we look for other characteristics to build upon versus worrying about the financial characteristics?
Work on other characteristics to build on, because money gonna come if you're, back to what I said, financially mature with money. Money gonna come anyway.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So let's just say you in a situation where your woman making more money than you.
Right.
If you got some hustle in you, you're not gonna make it so she feeling that for real. Yeah. Obviously on paper, okay, cool, she making more money than me, but I got my job and my side hustle to make up for that where I'm lacking. So okay, cool. If you know you got that in you, you shouldn't. It shouldn't be anything. It shouldn't be a big issue. But when you got that time to focus on everything else, because she know that you got ambition, she know you got hustle, she know you got it in you to make more money. Yeah, that's when it's really best to focus on other things other than money. Because if you know who you are, she know who you are,
right,
and that money gonna come regardless. You gonna be good to go.
But that's the catch-22 too.
Yeah,
that's the catch, because most women nowadays, they want their man to make more money than them.
Yeah. They want a ready-made man.
Right. They want him to have character, do da-da-da-da-da, be good in bed. All these things they want. But then when we say this one thing, you might make more money than me.
And you know why? It's been too many men that this is where money don't really be mattering as much as we think it does.
Okay.
Too many men lead with their money. And so when they fall off, they have nothing else to back it up.
Right.
And that's what messes them up.
That's true.
Yeah.
Like, I was literally just coming to the studio. I was talking to a young lady while I was waiting to come in, and that's when we got to talking about that. That's what she said. She said we broke up because he was stubborn and ignorant. But here goes the thing with society. Society has taught men to lead with their pockets.
Yeah.
You ain't a man unless you can pay the bills.
Right.
And that's where this whole topic come from, because you have, I think it's in relationships, period. People don't talk about character of a person.
No, they don't. Everything is financial.
Or looks and all that.
Yeah, but here's my problem. When you get to a point where, if let's just say a man did leave with his money, you got a woman she's just a gold digger. Okay, right, cool. Gold diggers, are y'all willing to deal with what comes with being a gold digger? Because guess what? You ain't gonna be the only one.
Right.
There's gonna be another woman that's looking for some money and looking for a good time. Yeah. You gonna be able to deal with that other woman, or you gonna break it off and break all your financial freedom? So that's where that's where character comes into place. Oh, okay. You know what? He may not make that much money, but guess what? He does know how to fix stuff.
Right.
Oh, he does know how to handle this stuff when I'm not around. Right. Oh, okay, he do look after the kids that didn't come from me, or didn't come from him, I should say. Right. You know what I'm saying? So these are the things that women need to start paying more attention to, but it starts with the men, though. Men, stop leading with money. It starts showing other attributes.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You know how many times I've been broke and came across good women? Like, dog, it's nothing. is nothing. When they see that you a good dude, you can make them laugh. They see that you're not no lazy dude. At that, it's gonna help out. It's gonna help out a long way. Your circumstances just might have you in a bold predicament, but one thing about you being the person that you might be, you can bounce back fast. I'm a bounce backer. So I don't worry about losing money. I know I'm gonna figure it out. That's why I'll never sweat when there's a time where, oh, damn, this happened. Okay, what else can I do next? I don't worry about the what else because the what else is already there.
Right.
I know what to tap into already. So that's what character is gonna matter.
That's a good thing though.
Yeah.
That's a good thing. 'Cause I look at it the same way. Like, I've never heard a woman in my little time on this earth say, man, he a really good dude, but that good dude come with a lot of more financial things he did versus his character.
Yep.
Like literally talking about who he is, what he about, what he stand for. And we ain't talking about your political views. We're talking about just as a character of how you move.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? In the streets, we be like, oh, that's a good dude. So once you say that, and I know your character, I'm like, okay, Todd, he introduced me to a stand-up type of guy.
Yep.
But a woman, she'd be like, oh, I had this relationship and this, and I'm like, was he a good dude? Well, he was nice, but you don't even want to be with him.
Yeah.
So where was he good at? What part was he good? Because he was friendly?
Yeah, exactly.
Good in bed? You know, what are you really saying when you say that? Because that's why I look at, like, when is it really time to move in with somebody when we don't have a checklist, or we don't even create a checklist as a community?
Yeah, the checklists need to be created.
Yeah.
And I think that's where we fell off. We fall in love. We fall in lust before we fall in love, and then that's where the checklists get blurred. The checklist it's funny how it works. You fall in lust first, right? And then the checklist starts to come into play as you fall in love.
Right.
No, it need to be the other way around. Hey, look, we've been having fun. We vibe with each other. That's great. You want to move in a different direction? That's cool. I'm willing to too. But let's break some stuff down real quick. What's your credit score? Oh, it's low. All right, let's work on that before we actually get a spot together.
Or do you want to work on it?
Yeah.
Because a lot of people, like, I've told a young lady before, I said, let's get a bank account. I've been waiting to get this bank account forever.
Right.
But I'm saying that to say, I'm not knocking her, but like I tell her, it has to be a sense of urgency on both sides. It can't just be me telling you one thing and you not demanding another thing. If you saying, hey, I need you to make more money, well, this should be an everyday struggle for us to keep looking for jobs.
Yeah.
Like, okay, well, then if I'm coming to you, don't be satisfied where you at, because if you got to know your mate. And a lot of people get stuck on, well, I'm good, so he should be here. Because I always say it's this. I'll turn around and I get, this where we at. This is America, this is where we at. And then here, this is where I'm going.
Right.
But I'm right here now. So when I get here, guess what? I'm upset in the mud because you still here.
Exactly.
I was down here and I surpassed you. Now what do we do? Well, we got to change the goalpost?
Yeah.
The goal line got to change now because now I don't really want you.
Yeah.
I'm upset now.
And that happens a lot. That people sleep on outgrowing somebody in their relationship. Like that is a big thing, you know. And that's something that's something that also doesn't get talked about enough. People get complacent in their relationships when they surpassing each other and just start cheating. No, don't start just cheating. Try to figure out where y'all gonna move.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, y'all wasting each other's time.
Exactly.
Y'all need to just go ahead and move on. You need to be with somebody with lower standards. You need to go on to be with somebody with higher standards.
Vibration. About vibration.
That's it. Because obviously y'all not gonna be on the same wavelength. But this comes from people needing to understand that they need to start getting comfortable with having uncomfortable conversations.
Hey, but you know what, man, you done hit 3 minutes, but we don't have to go back through this segment and chop this up.
Yeah.
Screw this. That is another good point you make. To have uncomfortable conversations. People are not comfortable having uncomfortable conversations.
Yeah.
Everybody want to have comfortable conversations. The hi, bye, I love you, let's go here, let's go to the mall and spend money.
Yeah.
But nobody wants to talk about, so you saying in 5 years your company going to be here? How you going to get it there?
Right.
And I want to see you doing that every day.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like one of my mentors said to me, he said, hey man, do you work on your business 8 hours a day or every day? I said every day. He said, wrong answer. Wrong answer. You're supposed to work on the 8 hours a day like it's your job.
Yeah.
That's your job.
Yeah, I agree.
But working on it every day, you're going to produce. But that production only going to be small. So you got to put in the full 8 hours of a day, just like you got a regular job when you got running your own stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't see that. But when you got a mate, that's what her job is, to push you.
Yeah, I agree.
The yin and the yang.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm looking at like, okay, at what point do you decide to move in? Because you might love somebody to death or be in love with them, but do you move in once y'all get to the point of the yin and yang, or do y'all talk about the yin and yang while y'all there and start molding it out?
Molding it out. Listen, that's the best way to go. Mold it out, because at the end of the day, you're gonna fall out of love with the person you with. I'm sorry, it's gonna happen. You're gonna fall out of love. Then what you got left? So what do you do to bring yourselves back to where y'all was at one point or better? So that's why it's important to have these uncomfortable conversations right now. Like, hey, my credit score is trash, but I can get it back up. All I got to do is X, Y, and Z. Mm-hmm. Can you assist? And if not, cool, I'll figure it out.
Right.
That's it. But a lot of people need to start just having those conversations first. Stop just going for what's in your face right at the moment. If y'all calling yourself building requires digging deep.
Ooh, foundation.
Yeah, so you're gonna have to do that.
Yeah, you have a lot of good points there, Kyle.
Thank you.
Because that foundation, we kind of miss that in relationships, because we build on soft sand. We don't go and crack that ground and get that hard foundation.
Mm-hmm.
Put that basement in there. You know, people just like, okay, we're gonna put a little house up. It's nice. Yeah, it look nice on the outside, but in reality, it has no real substance, so it can't withstand no pressures.
Yeah. I've caught in flack from women that I ask serious questions to, like, hey, look, what traumatized you?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What is it that somebody else will say is your flaws? You know what I'm saying? Some women that told me that was a stupid question, but like, honestly, that's a real question, because I need to know so I can see what I'm about to be dealing with.
Right.
What I need to know what happened to you, so you know, if you have an episode, how do I deal with it in a moment if I ain't never dealt with it before?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So these are things that's going to help mold the relationship. Forget about the financial aspect of it. Mentally, where are you at?
Yeah.
Because I don't want to do nothing to trigger you, and I don't even realize I'm triggering you.
But that's a catch-22 in itself.
Yeah.
Usually you don't find that out in a relationship until you go through something with the person in the relationship.
Yeah.
Then you start finding out, like, oh, that's your trigger.
Exactly.
Instead of you telling me, I got to figure it out.
Exactly.
And then it's the same way when I say knowing a guy's trigger. You know, if there's certain things that I know trigger me, then at some point you would think that you would be more inclined to say, you know what, I ain't gonna do that, because I know Ty gonna be pissed off if I do that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna do that. And a lot of times I don't see that happening in relationships. It's almost like I know it's triggered, so guess what? I'm gonna push that button.
And you know where that come from? That this is where I'm gonna put it on us to some extent.
Okay.
I'm gonna put it on us men. Mm-hmm. The reason why that happens, like, let's say you got a woman that does that to you, mm-hmm. is because you allowed her to get too comfortable in your relationship. A woman ain't supposed to be comfortable. She's supposed to be not too comfortable. There's never a good time for a woman to be too comfortable in a relationship. Just like it ain't comfortable for a man to get too comfortable. But on our end, I think we mess up by not letting our woman know, hey, look here, just like you would catch, I'm gonna catch too. Man, so you need to keep it together.
Yeah. I mean, it's sad to say. The sad part about that is that in this day and age, especially for a black man, mm-hmm. it really is hard to find one of them. They rare. Even that's not cheating, not married, not, a check the other character looking for a heterosexual relationship. So I say all that to say it's difficult when you really look at this. When a woman looking for that type of relationship, to say, okay, I just do it. I don't got to check that box.
Yeah.
You know, I got some statistics right here I want to give to you, Ty. They say 63% of all marriages in America, they move in as a step towards marriage. So there go again. You already said it. You already said there's already seriousness. But now, we're not even having the conversations knowing that the next step is marriage. That's why I'm here.
Right.
Literally, I'm here for marriage.
Yeah.
And see, I got a belief in marriage that before I give you the ring or ask you to marry me, we should already be doing marriage things.
Exactly. We should be working towards a marriage.
The marriage is only, to me, the icing on the cake for the world to see. The ring is only a symbolization of the marriage.
Yep.
But it can't. The marriage can't start with the ring or start with the license. It got to start before I get there.
Exactly. I don't know no girlfriend that just jumped right into being a wife. You know what I'm saying? You started off as a girlfriend at one point. So that means you worked your way up into becoming a wife. You made that man want to propose to you for some reason. I don't care what it was. It was something about you that made him say, you know what, I want to marry you, girl. You know what I'm saying? So nobody just jumps from just the head start being a wife. And I think people forget that.
Yeah.
So yeah, when you're working on that or when you're dating with a purpose.
Right. Oh.
When you're dating with a purpose, that's when marriage is supposed to be the goal.
Right.
It should be the goal. And if it's not the goal, that's cool too, because a lot of people don't want to get the government involved with them. And I get that. So it's some people out here that will sit up here and stay in a long lasting relationship without marriage. And if they do marriage, they don't actually get the paperwork involved.
But that's still cool, because if you're not gonna get quote unquote the paperwork, then make sure she's on your trust. Make sure she's on your life insurance.
Yeah.
You don't have to be married to that. You're just making sure that, and vice versa, she do the same for you.
Yeah.
And that way, if something happened, y'all ain't got to worry about John Doe or Jane Doe coming in talking about this my so and so. And so that's why I say it's still you being married before you're married.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, you're doing all the things, because at this point right now, like I look at another point of moving in is insurance. You know, do I get on your insurance? Do you get on my insurance?
Right. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And that's
life insurance, you know.
That stuff matters, because at the end of the day, you know, I know you can work it out and finagle it to where if you're not married, you can get that person on your insurance, but it's a lot more red tape and money you got to spend to do that, which is where marriage is more beneficial for the both of you to go ahead and do and make sure that happens in a more easier aspect. Right. Mm-hmm. So I think that stuff matters the most. Like, okay, listen, we know we about to do this. We know we about to do that. So at the end of the day, marriage, even if it's the goal, it's a partnership. Right. But it's a partnership that also is a business. Yep. And a lot of people frown on the fact that, you know, some might call it a business, but it's the truth. Definitely. Look, it's definitely a business. I'm bringing to the table what I got, you bring it to the table what you got, and we're building off of that. That could be nothing.
Right. And somebody can take it too.
Exactly. Right. So we're building, and eventually it's going to become profitable if we're doing it right. Mm-hmm. So let's do it right, and then that's where we can make things happen. So a lot of people sleep on the fact that it starts off as a business, right, but that's essentially what it is. You're getting people that sit up here and say, I'm going to get married for love. That's the wrong reason. You can't just get married just for love. I'm sorry.
I don't agree with that.
Yeah, you can't. That's ridiculous.
Once again, this checklist. You got not.
Exactly.
Yeah, love is definitely key, but what's the character of a person? What's their long-term goals? No, if political stuff do matter to you, what's their political view?
Exactly. Love come and go. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. That character, that's not gonna change. Respect, that's not gonna change. Love will change. It fluctuates. So I don't agree with just getting married just for love. To me that's a foolish reason to get married. Like, no, what does this person do for you that you know, okay, I know if I fell off, I can lean on them, and vice versa. You know what I'm saying? It's about strengthening each other. It's like sharpening each other, basically. Like, I can't. If my wife was a person that I knew, somebody I couldn't depend on, you better believe she wouldn't be my wife.
Well, we got a caller calling in.
Definitely, yeah.
Okay, what's up? We got a caller calling in. How you doing, caller?
What's up, caller? You on the air?
Ty, what it do?
What's up, bro?
Hey, look, I co-sign that, man. Me as men, we have to learn to, when we are picking mates, we have to learn to love women.
Yeah.
Love our mates. It's not when you're getting married, it's something totally different. Mm-hmm. You're saying to her and to the world, like, I'm committed to her. Mm-hmm. This is my business partner. Because you're right. It is a total business, but it's also a partnership.
Yeah.
A partnership in life requires, like, at some point, you should have life insurance, you know, with a beneficiary chosen out. Mm-hmm. You should have, me personally, you should have separate bank accounts. Not the same. You can have a savings account high, what I would like to call you, with any kind of account that you should have with your spouse should be a high interest savings account. That's it. So where you both can fund it, right? With the law and the rule of, we're only going to pull this money out when it's necessary. And so leadership is required from us men in order to, because I explained this to my neighbor. I was telling him, like, women are they can be reckless. Women and children can be reckless.
Absolutely.
They can blow money and do whatever and make mistakes and all. Men can't. And when it comes to our livelihood, when it comes to the foundational of who's going to be the lead, sometimes you can take the lead, whoever, you know what I'm saying, in certain situations. But in most cases, it still has, the buck still stops with you.
Yeah.
And so a lot of men in modern times don't want that responsibility anymore. It's not like too many dudes are signing up. But see, here's the thing. I tell dudes all the time, you can look at it from a short picture frame, or you can look at it from a longer picture frame. Long term, when you're in your 40s and your 50s and you're not so much desirable and all you are just a walking bank to people, that's how you end up in these troubles.
Right.
So it's better to pair up with someone and learn to love them, and then in doing so, you actually have to provide leadership in situations that may or may not occur. And so that's what most women nowadays, they swear they want a leadership, but they really don't. You know what I'm saying? That's their biggest issue. That's their hang up. Because on one end, they're really tired, but because of our environments and how we're raised, and it depends on what type of female. And then I tell a lot of dudes, like, try to find a girl that has a father.
That matters.
That matters. And I ain't talking about a distant father. I'm talking about a father that's in her life.
Right.
Whether the parents are divorced or definitely if they are married, because you can look back and see the foundation, how she grew up.
Yeah.
I'll give you a perfect example. That's why I always point out, like Miss Perfect. I ain't gonna say her name, but you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, I get you. Yeah.
You could tell she's raised with a father because how she moves. And if I had to marry someone, if I had to tell a young man, like, she's the kind of woman you kind of need to kind of focus on, because the one that's having daddy issues and her father's never in her life, right, that's going to be the one that's going to give you the most resistance. That's going to be the one that's going to cause the problems.
Yeah.
And so we as men have to pick more than just looking at ass and looking at the face and all of that. That's a plus. Always remember that, because as they say, the Temptation said a long time, beauty's only skin deep.
There you go.
It's going to last so long. And sometimes your thing ain't gonna get up in for everything. And so at the same time, you got to have self-discipline. And see, look, the real work is so hard to do because it requires more self-discipline, especially from the leader. You can't fall for the whole leisure life, because women and children live for leisure. We as men. Look, both of y'all, how often you need to take a vacation this year? How hard are you really working to really be wanting to take a vacation? Wheels in the air.
I only enough to be on vacation twice a year. Right. Only enough to be twice a year,
right,
bro.
Right, but a woman would want that, what, 4 times?
Yep.
And who's funding all of that? And when that's happening, auto insurance, how your credit looking? Who's funding the life insurance policy? It's something, if we are on a trip and I drop dead, you know what I'm saying? And you ain't got to be having no GoFundMe to try to bury me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's all of those certain things, and that requires leadership from the guy, from the dude.
Appreciate you, bro. Appreciate you.
Yeah, definitely.
That's all it is, you know. But that's all. I'm listening and watching.
Thanks, man. Thank you. I appreciate you calling in, D.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
For sure.
Yep.
But he said he had a lot of interesting points, because a lot of times we don't really the men don't want to lead.
Yeah.
So let's just put that out there. He said a lot of stuff. So the women have to lead. So that is another character thing that, you know, and women, it's okay to tell your man to lead. It's really okay.
Yeah, it is.
Because some guys, like he just said, they wasn't raised with men in their household. Look at the women, he come out to need a father. That makes sense. So
Yeah.
if I was a kid that grew up and didn't have a father in the household, how am I going to know how to lead this household?
You the only way you will know how to lead is if you have some OGs because your father wasn't around. Your uncles had to be showing you something. Your OGs had to be showing you something. That's the only way you going to figure it out. If you don't figure it out like that, you going to have to figure it out the hard way from a woman. And that's going to come harsh. That you need to learn how to lead.
But it happened anyway, though.
Yeah.
Because that's most relationships when you have weaker men in a relationship with a woman, like when a deadbeat dad or a guy who don't like a stepfather who come in and don't look after the stepkid.
Yeah.
It's because he's weak in some area for something. So the woman's already bashing him anyway.
Right, yeah. You're
So
right.
you might as well go take him to the leadership class or something.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, he
But
getting bashed anyway.
But I think the leadership will, honestly, now this is something I would say is going to pour back onto the women. And they probably going to kill me for saying this, but honestly, I think if more women kept that gold digging badge on, that would make more men get in these leadership positions. It's too many men out here that's okay with being taken care of and being bums. And I don't think they would be like that if y'all wasn't just feeding off of what they look like and what they do for you in bed. Like they know they using what they got to get what they want in that situation. So it's like, okay, I know I could do this, I know I could do that, so I'm gonna get away with everything else that I'm lacking, and she's gonna let me do it because she ain't about to get this from nobody else.
Right.
So bring back gold digging. That's what I say. Bring it back and put it on the forefront.
Look,
Hey.
gold digging with a purpose.
Yeah, there you go. Gold dig. Hey, that's real. Gold digging with a purpose. It's not to be malicious. I'm saying it because it's too many dudes out here that's okay with acting like they in a women role, like they a princess.
Right.
No. If you supposed to be a man, you supposed to be leading, then lead. If you ain't had nobody showing you that, bet. Hey, ladies, step it up. Hey, listen, you can't mess with me unless your credit score up here. You can't mess with me unless you making this amount of money. This is perfect because guess what? Most of those women that are acting like that, some of them are already making that type of money and are already in those positions.
The only thing I can add, the only thing I would add to that time is that if you are one of them women, if you in that position, don't be afraid to grab a guy by the bootstraps because he might not be a bump. He might just not know.
That's true too.
Yeah,
That's
a lot of
true.
people just don't know.
Exactly.
'Cause a lot of young guys that I talk to and mentor, even that's another reason when they move into a woman, they be so used to, I'm gonna pay for somebody to check out the trash, I'm gonna pay for this, I'm gonna pay. I'm like, you paying for everything, so who's leading the house?
Exactly.
The pockets or you?
Right.
But even if you don't know how to do something, guess what? It's YouTube. I got my friend come over to help me. I'm sitting there watching, just to let her know, like, yeah, this us.
Right.
We doing this.
Yeah.
And because you have to set a tone and a precedent in the household, because the woman is setting the tone and the precedent, and then we want her to let go. Just we're talking about the one to make all that money.
Yeah.
We want her to let go, but we gotta have her something to let go for her.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true.
And women, don't let your past be the answer to your future. If you had a bum dude in the past, the new one might not be a bum dude.
Exactly. He might, like you said, he might not just know any better. And I agree with you on that. But you gotta see. This is where it can get tricky too. You gotta be willing to take the time to figure out what that man's struggle was to even say, okay, I'm gonna give this guy a shot and uplift him at the same time. You can't just be like, oh, your credit score this. Oh, you only make that. Get out my face.
Exactly.
No, you can't be like that. You got to be willing to understand where the man's struggle came from. So if you're gonna put with your accolades, your finances on the table, and put that to the forefront and say that's what you want, be willing to help the man out because he might not know any better. So I agree with you on that, Polo, for sure.
All day.
A lot.
Go ahead.
No, I was just about to say a lot of men wasn't being led to be men.
Right, and that's where a lot of this comes from. This topic, I see this every day. You know, it hit home for me being, like I said, being a small entrepreneur and trying to fight. And I hear a lot of ladies say, "Hey, when you get yourself together, come back and holler at me."
Uh-huh.
What do you mean when I go get another house, some more bills, a different car? Then
Right.
you come back and talk to you?
Right.
What I got to talk to you for? Now I don't need you now.
Yeah,
What I
exactly.
need you for?
Exactly.
I already got everything I need. I don't need you.
Yeah.
Now I'm looking for the next level up, and it ain't you.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
you wasn't there with me when I was shooting in the gym.
There you go.
You know.
And there was this one content creator. She got they slaughtered her in the comments and across social media for all the men that got looked over for the dope boys back in the day when they was in high school.
Mm-hmm.
they should look. Those same men that's doing well now
Right.
should look past the fact that they got looked past and still wife up those women. Meanwhile, those women that look past those same men that weren't dope boys back then, they all have babies by different men and all kind of things.
Right.
So y'all want those same men that's established now that y'all looked over
Right.
because y'all wanted a dope boy. And then on top of that, somebody was way older than you dealing with you in high school.
Right.
Y'all want those same men to deal with y'all right now after all of that damage and baggage.
Hell no.
Exactly. So no, that's not cool. Like, no, at some point we're gonna have to say, you know what? We're better than that. It's time to move up. My high school crush was just a high school crush. I didn't get a chance to have my way with her.
Right.
It is what it is. It's time to move on.
Right.
That's it.
That's definitely true.
Yeah.
A lot of times, people don't even notice that they're going through things like that psychologically.
Yeah.
Like, it's a psyche thing. And I told somebody, I said, man, I remember being an ugly duckling. And it wasn't so much as the looks, but as, I had glasses and braces. So a lot of women just automatically assume, push me to the side.
Yeah.
It's cool. But I only thing I can say is I don't allow them to, when I see them women, I don't get mad. I feel like, okay, I'm elevating on the level of my frequency is totally different now. My vibration is high. And so when your vibration get high, you look for higher vibrations.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And that goes to when you ready to move in with somebody, you gotta look for the high vibration.
Yeah, Dorian also said, I had a dad, several uncles, and an older brother, street mentors, etc. I was raised by men and had a very loving mother by my influence to be a man. I had several examples.
Wow.
So that right there, that sounds like the makings of somebody that's a well-rounded man on top of being a strong man.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Everybody didn't have that growing up. Mm-hmm. So unfortunately, you're going to come across some men that didn't have the uncles, the brothers. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? You got the guys that was just raised with their mother and their mother only. And those guys are most guys are considered to be soft, coddled, etc. You know what I'm saying? Those are the people that need to be led because they don't know no better and their mom can only do so much. Yep. So with that being said, ladies, I could just as much energy I could give y'all to say, hey, bring back gold digging. Hey, bring back patience for a man.
Man, that's deep. That's deep.
Yeah.
Right there. That's deep. The patience. See, and I hear a lot of women say, well, I'll be patient with the guy, but you see character flaws, you see red flags, and you steady being patient.
Yeah.
That's not patience.
Yeah. That's tolerance.
That's tolerance. Yeah, a good one. That's tolerance.
Yeah.
We talking about when you actually see a dude getting up every morning, going out there hitting that pavement and trying to figure it out. That's what you gotta have patience with, because sometimes he may be figuring out the wrong thing, but he's trying to figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you look at, I always talk about Jeff Benzo. Him and his wife was in the garage.
Yeah.
His wife was the one that said, hey, we should sell books or a Kindle or something. She the one that said the idea that became the multi-billion-dollar Amazon company.
Exactly.
So but he was just trying to figure it out. He just knew whatever he was doing wasn't working for him.
Yeah.
And that's the whole point. You know, sometimes we gotta understand that if I'm trying to figure it out and we in a relationship, yeah, we can move in together. But that don't mean that it's bad, that because I'm not doing good now.
Yeah.
You just want me, if I move in with you, you better make sure that get up every morning and hit that street.
Yeah.
He gotta hit the street. If he don't hit the street, then that's where the problem comes in.
Yeah, exactly. Now, if he in the same spot you left him in when you got home, that's a big problem.
That's a big problem.
Unless he come home with some money that you ain't seen before.
Yeah.
That's the only way that's cool. But other than that, no, that's going to be a problem. He can't be eating up all your kids' snacks and playing these video games.
All day.
No, that can't be it. That's not the way.
Right.
That's not the way. Especially now. Things done got more expensive. Can't nobody be sitting around playing around. And normally it takes more than one income to take over a household.
Most definitely.
You know what I'm saying? So y'all can't be playing. Playtime is over with. School is out. Y'all in the big leagues now.
And people don't understand that.
Yeah.
Like, people really don't understand when you have a plan, a goal, you got an outline of how y'all want to live your life, it changes. And it sounds like we talking about business, but like Tom said, this is when you decide to cohabitate with somebody, you're going into a business.
Yeah.
That no matter what it is, whether we're talking on this microphone or we're in this establishment where we're at now, we've decided certain rules and boundaries are going to be respected.
Yeah.
So that's the outline. From that point on, we go from there. Hey, do that in your relationship.
Definitely.
Ty, I know you about to wrap it up. I know you gotta get the shots out. I know, come on, something. I want to recap. Give me a recap real quick.
Man, just, hey, listen, everybody that's been tapping in and watching, and even if you got to watch the playback, just hear me out. If you get into a relationship with somebody and you know the focus of the situation is going to be marriage, start having those uncomfortable conversations that y'all need to have. Those uncomfortable conversations are going to help y'all grow. Okay? And if y'all not gonna grow, y'all gonna grow apart and having somebody else's time of your life with. You know what I'm saying? But other than that, have those uncomfortable conversations so y'all can see what's going on and get ahead of the game. You gonna know, okay, this uncomfortable conversation right here helped me realize I don't need to either be with you or be with you, and move on and keep going from there. That's it. If y'all don't have them uncomfortable conversations, there's nothing good gonna come from y'all situation at all.
Right. That's cold.
Yeah.
I'm gonna hit y'all like this, man. Ty really hit everything, but I'm gonna get you this. Partnership versus performance. Understand that. Partnership versus performance, and the other one I wanna hit you with before we go is red flags and real talk.
That's real.
You gotta have, when you see the red flags, address it.
Yes.
And then have real talk. That's going to help you out with your partnership, and it's going to help out the performance. And that's the one thing that we have to realize in relationships that we're going, whether is it time to move in, yeah, that's a determination for you, but make sure you go and do the checklist and look at it, because me, I'm checklisting right now.
Yeah, that's real.
So look, we here at Creative Emotions. We want to appreciate y'all coming out, messing with us, and there's nothing you can do about it.
We out of here, y'all. Indeed.